Horuda by Kinga White. On a snowy night in a ceramic workshop, a potter named Thaddeus opened his kiln's top. It was piping hot inside after firing all day. So Thaddeus left it to cool and walked away. He tied his scarf around his neck, put a beret on his head, then locked up the workshop and went straight home to bed. When he left, a head appeared out of the kiln with a curved beak of a ceramic man who climbed up to have a peek. Horuda, a miniature with an impressive hat, pulled himself up, and on the edge of the kiln he sat. He was wearing a fancy coat, but his feet were bare. Not the best outfit for the weather out there. Immediately, the falling snow caught his eye, so Horuda leapt to a windowsill nearby. Puffing out steam, the little man exclaimed, "I'm free! Adventures awaiting, just watch me." So, out of the window he plunged into the night and somehow caught a snowflake in mid-flight. He glided with an open beak through the skies full of flakes and stared at the world patched with mountains, rivers, and lakes. But suddenly he began speeding towards the ground, fearing he would hit the earth with a shattering sound. His hot hands were melting the snowflake drop after drop, with petrified Horuda trying to make it stop. Whoosh! Out of nowhere, a crow zoomed down without a sound and grabbed Horuda in his beak before hitting the ground. "For you," sighed Horuda as he clambered on the crow's back, then held tightly as the bird continued on his track. When they flew over the seas, a strong wind began to blow. Horuda couldn't hold any longer and accidentally let go. He tumbled down through the clouds and plunged into the sea, past a school of fish, chased by a shark trying to flee. Then a whirlpool drew Horuda into a strange room. "I don't like it one bit," he muttered, full of gloom. Tall waves rocked him from side to side, making a splat, and bumped Horuda against the wall, breaking his hat. "No!" screamed Horuda, seeing a chip of his hat sinking. At once he dived under to catch it without thinking, then grabbed the piece and squeezed it in his pocket, then blasted back to the surface like a rocket. He swam to the side and tried to climb the slippery wall, but kept on sliding down as it was too tall. When he was doing that, a strange thing happened straight after. The whole room shook uncontrollably, filling with laughter. Horuda got frightened and became rather pale as he realized he was trapped inside a ginormous blue whale. He was tickling the whale by climbing up his inner cheek, then sliding down and hooking to the side with his beak. Achoo! The whale sneezed so loud he was heard at the North Pole, and with a gust blasted Horuda out through his blowhole. The little man torpedoed out into the blue sky and got caught by a flying fish who happened to glide by. The flying fish said, "There is a tropical island nearby. I'll drop you off there so that you can rest and dry." So, as promised, the flying fish let go of Horuda when she saw the land, making him plunge upside down with his head buried in sand. Horuda pulled himself up, spitting out sand and wiping his beak with the back of his hand. He then entered the jungle, full of fragrant smells coming from gardenias, jasmines, and some that look like bells. But what were those two huge, glossy eyes? At once, a fearsome tiger pounced out and caught him by surprise. Startled, Horuda dived away from the beast. He didn't want to end up as the tiger's feast. He jumped over tangled branches with juicy fruit and ran until he tripped over a sticking out root. He went flying in the air and fell flat like a pancake, which unfortunately caused his big toe to break. Ouch! Horuda squeezed his chipped toe next to his broken hat. Then blindly ran away at speed like a bat. Meanwhile, right at the top of a palm crest lay a rather hairy orangutan scratching his chest. When he heard all the commotion down below, he grabbed a coconut and gave it a good throw. The coconut split on the tiger's head, who got up dizzy, and into the bushes he fled. "Thank you," muttered Horuda, catching his breath. "This hairy, stripy beast almost scared me to death. I want to go home now." Horuda started to weep. He curled up in the orangutan's palm and said, "I need some sleep." The orangutan lifted Horuda and placed him gently in the shell, then stuck a leaf in the coconut boat and wished him farewell. Horuda sailed days and nights till he reached familiar land, then ran through the fields with a dandelion in his hand. He spotted a familiar house that made him feel warm inside. His home, a place that is safe, where there is no need to hide. He climbed up the wall and through the window by himself. Exhausted but safe, he fell asleep on a shelf. Snow was dancing outside the ceramic workshop, where Horuda slept like a log on the shelf's top. The next morning, the potter opened the door and couldn't believe his eyes. There was Horuda with broken parts. What a surprise! Thaddeus took the broken pieces and glued them back in place. Then said this, looking at the little creature's face: "Sometimes you need to get lost in the world to find the value of what you have left behind. Bye!